Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Artist ADD. My name is Alicia LaRue and I am an artist with a serious case of the ADDs. I have to try everything. So now for this episode, I will be doing a salmon out of a really interesting material, which we all know very well, aluminum cans. So sit back and enjoy this piece. Hopefully get inspired. Okay, so to begin with, I just did a quick sketch of the idea that I had and my lovely 3D pen. On my table, I'm just basically, laying the foundation really with this sculpture. With foundation, I guess you need to have it pretty solid and structurally sound. So I'm just kind of adding a little detail here to make it a little bit stronger. Really, actually, if I could go back and do this part, this would actually be the part that I would go in and just, go on those lines, double 3 times more just to make them that much stronger. So then now that I've got the base, I'm going to start building it up. So just kind of roughing it here. I end up getting a better technique, but see how I went in there twice to make it a little bit more solid. And then if it doesn't quite fit, hey, it's the 3D pen. You can just freestyle. So that's why I think maybe I really do love this tools, because it's all about the freestyle. So now this technique I found worked a little bit better. I just go and do squiggly lines, let it dry. That's an important part, is let it dry before you lift it up, because if it's not dry, you end up getting little kinks in it. So then basically you just, put it on one side to the next. You can see there's that little kink that I've got in there, but fix it, just scribble away. And then basically, because this is we're building a skeleton, I want it to be structurally sound, so I'm adding these pieces to basically just to adhere all the pieces together, really. And the nice thing with the 3D pen is it really is it's basically like a glue gun, really. But when you put it on, it's really hot, but as long as you let it dry, it will stay in that position. So here's a fin, super easy, just did the outline of a fin and then just 3D penned it on. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So now that I've got the structure, I'm going in and I'm doing the fun part. I get to doodle. I like the doodling part. Just basically just play with it, just really work on, making all the pieces lay together. You can see here, I'm going farther beyond the part that needs to be doodled on, just to really make it nice and structurally sound, as I've already said before. So here I've got the strong bow and I've got the glue gun, and I've just cut little pieces. I add little folds in it to give it some dimension. And then basically I start from the tail. So you'll see why I started from the tail when this piece is finished. But basically you start from the tail and you work your way up, just like through the scales and everything. At first I found a little bit of a challenge getting the glue gun, but the glue gun actually, by the end of it, really the glue on the glue gun glued so nicely to the 3D pen. It was pretty awesome for sure. And actually it's the finished piece is quite structurally sound. So when I started gluing on, I was like, oh no, is this gonna work? So you can see here I'm doing the fin, and I've just basically cut it into 3 different pieces, and then glued the fin on. So first, before I do any of the scales, definitely get all of the fins on. And you see here, just gluing it right up. You have to hold it, I find. So when you get the hot glue gun to the 3D pen, you just hold it for a while, and then you can kind of feel like, okay, that's pretty solid. So there's the fin. Very nice. And all the fins there, looking pretty good. I love that metal type look. And it's so great because this is all just cans, pop cans, right? So now that that is done, I am going to start with the scales. So definitely the scales were, like so many art pieces, you just get into the zone and you just start doing it. So So you can see how I'm starting from the bottom and I'm working my way up. Just like scales really would be, I believe that's how you do the scales typically. But that's the way I guess I've done these scales. I guess you could do it backwards, but doing it this way is way easier. So here's a little close-up of how I ended up doing all of the scales. I would just cut the piece of tin, and then those little strips, I'd make it round like a scale, and then I would do those little dividends in so that they all fit kind of nicely. I didn't use a template or anything because I like the freestyle side of it all. I like things to not look perfect personally. Do a little fold in it, and then I kind of find, oh yeah, that piece works pretty good there, and then I do the glue, and yay, notice the color. Right? That's kind of a cool part. You'll find there's a surprise at the end, but that color, like, oh, so exciting. So you see it slowly coming along here with all the different scales. You can see through that part there. I wonder why you can see through that part. Well, you'll just have to wait till the end. But yeah, slowly coming together. So you can see here it's pretty structurally sound. It's nice and light too, actually, which I really like, because automatically for me, metal, you think that it's really quite heavy, but no, it was nice and light. So I'm just kind of working my way up here, just little by little, row by row. So that's how you do the scales, is you just work row by row, and you scatter them kind of like bricks, right? So you don't want them to all be aligned the same. So now that all the scales are done, I'm doing the gills. So this part here, I really didn't have too much of a plan. So I just kind of went for it, really, just like I tend to do, I suppose. The beauty of anything, art in general, is if you don't like it, guess what you can do? Take it apart, do it again. Paint over it, do it again. Like, nothing is final until you say so. So I definitely take that stance when I create. So I'm just building this up here and just playing with the different pieces of the aluminum. I like that folded feel. I'm like, oh, I'll put this here, like that here. He's ended up looking a little bit like a robo salmon, but you know what? Salmons are like robo salmons. Like, I tell you, one of my favorite animals. But they're all my favorite animals. So you can see the inside, it's looking a little messy, but here we go. Here's the finished product. Yeah, he's got presents, I find. I know that I actually plan on doing a couple more of these for a art installation that I'm going to be doing. And this guy's my first one, and I know it's just gonna get better. So now here's a little twist, is, what's that? Is that a light? So basically I glued on lights. Look at it! When I turned them on and turned the lights off, I was like, oh man, it worked. It worked. And now my favorite part is, see the red in it? Like, that I did plan, but I didn't know if it would work. So the red actually reflected back, and like, oh, I just, like, salmon when they're spawning, they turn red. Just love the way that this guy turned out. Pretty awesome for sure. Was that not so much fun? Watching it light up. Aww. Took my breath away. I was like, oh, there's color behind it. Yay. So much fun. And I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you got inspired. You know, something in your mind, you're like, maybe I can create this way. If you do, if you're inspired by this technique, please feel free to tag me at Artist ADD. Tag me, I want to see it. And if you have any questions during the process that I might be able to answer you, feel free to send me an email. I mean, most likely my answer will be just go for it. But you make sure to subscribe. That really helps me out, and I look forward to next episode. We'll see you next time.